Can a poetry collection make someone leave their toxic marriage? This was a question I found myself wrestling with after reading Chaotic Good by Isabelle Baafi. Sectioned into 5 parts: separation, childhood, adolescence, marriage, and rebirth. Chaotic Good is framed by an escape from a toxic marriage, and also explores how the lessons we learn in childhood, whether it be through experiences or the stories we are told, stay with us, shape us, and guide us into sometimes making decisions we may one day regret. I found myself aching to recommend this collection to people I know who find it hard to leave the wrong person. People who stay in relationships that aren't good for them. Perhaps it will inspire courage. Perhaps this collection will inspire grace. For me, it inspired hope. It's always possible to start again. I think the reason why this collection resonated so deeply with me is because I was raised Christian and also South Asian. And both those cultures combined created a stigma around divorce. But this collection, the speaker that prioritizes their well-being and safety over any covenant they made. They reject this cognitive bias of sunk-cost fallacy and leave the person that is not good for them. At the Young Poets Summit in 2025, Isabelle Baafi revealed that Christianity was a big part of her life. So perhaps it's because of this, or despite it, that she decides to interrogate this notion. Baafi's pamphlet, Ripe, begins with an epigraph from Proverbs 27:7. To the hungry soul, every bitter thing is sweet. This collection expands on this sentiment through poems like The Imperfect, the very first poem, the collection. The poem begins, a husband, a wife, consumed by all we hungered for. The word consumed already encourages multiple readings, a practice that will be encouraged throughout the collection through the forms of the poems themselves. Initially, consumes implies that the speaker and their spouse are completely absorbed in one another, with the speaker appearing to center their partner and obsess over pleasing them, learning cooking not for themselves, but to please and feed their partner, and perhaps to fulfill stereotypically wifely duties. You, the dominant taste in every bite, and I learn the right things for the wrong reasons, sweating over a pot for days. The speaker states, I never hated anything so much. Not you, the meal, I couldn't stand anyone but you. This devotion also implies an isolation, a rejection of a support system and a codependency, common signs of an unhealthy relationship, thus foreshadowing the inevitable combustion that is revealed in the mirrored second stanza. By inverting the poem, Baafi's second stanza takes on a more hateful tone, despite the lines staying the same. Her line breaks and use of punctuation in this collection are genius, and allow for double meanings within the sentences. Take. You, the meal I couldn't stand, I never hated anything so much, not light soup, gizzard, liver, chili. The enjambment after not forces a slight pause that allows the reference to the soup to be delayed. Thus, visually, the line reads, I never hated anything so much, not. Which could be read as a speaker wrestling with denial over the fact that they now hate their spouse. Consume thus takes on a darker meaning by the last line. They weren't just absorbed by each other, they were destroyed. Baafi's demonstration of formal dexterity and wordplay is illuminated further in poems like Your Mother's Daughter, A Gift, I'm Here/Gone, delete as appropriate, and GMT-1. The former two also encourage duplicitous meanings, with here/gone both past and present, positive and negative aspects of a relationship appear parallel to one another. Baafi grants the reader the creative license to choose the meaning of the poem, and how many times, if any, we opt for the darker choice. In GMT-1, we see Baafi's exceptional wordplay and experimentation with tenses to mimic the discomfort and confusion of finding out your spouse has had an affair in a different time zone, in which the speaker is an hour ahead. The switching between past, present, and future tense conjures up 2 juxtaposing scenes occurring simultaneously, one domestic and one hedonistic. Yet somehow, one already knows what the other will do. One has beaten the other to the knowledge of their own actions. I already know what you will did. While the marriage section, in my opinion, truly shines in vulnerability, strong images, and experimentation, I am less convinced by the final section, rebirth, and its sequencing, and whether that order truly allows for maximum impact. The last poem, Still Here, marks a stark tonal shift that at times feels disjointed from the previous poems. For example, the poem before Still Here, Parthenogenesis, ends with, I did not come easy, but I knew how to build myself up when I did. And then Still Here's opening lines begin with, I guess the devil could have swallowed me, if I didn't have all this ass. And later, my forgiveness brings all the damned to the yard. While this poem is amusing and playful and encompasses some provocative images like not your dog, but the ball it can't catch, I'm not convinced it was the best poem to end this collection with due to its drastic tonal shift. Though the shift could be a marker for healing and lightness, for me, it unfortunately seemed to undercut the gravity of the previous poems, regardless of the sequencing at the end. This thought-provoking, challenging, and playful collection will stay with me, particularly the message of Sankofa, the title of which comes from an Akan proverb. It is not taboo to go back for what you left behind. In the poem, the speaker goes back in time and then goes into the future for themselves. The poem culminates in a message of self-determination, a message that underscores the entire book. I was the code I needed to find my way back. The truth is, I'm not sure if a poetry collection can make someone leave their toxic marriage. But if any book can, it is Chaotic Good by Isabelle Baafi.